What's going on? Alex here, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to use QuickBooks Online when you have multiple lines of service or multiple business lines. Your business might offer a few different services and you want to track those over time so you see the different trends in terms of the revenue, where the money's coming from, and how it's changing over time. Well, this video is for you. Now, what are some examples of when this could be useful? Well, let's say you have a marketing agency and you offer 3 lines of service. So you have branding, you have web design, and you have social media marketing. And you want to reflect the revenue separately for those lines of service so you can track the trends over time and see where the money's coming from. Or if you have a CPA firm, for example, that offers tax preparation, consulting, and financial planning, again, you can have 3 lines of service that you can represent separately in QuickBooks so you could track the numbers individually over time. Now, how does that work? Let's take a look. When you open up QuickBooks, you could see that if you look at the profit and loss statement in the reports section, you'll notice that income is going to be represented with a single line item in many cases. And this doesn't provide a lot of granularity or detail in terms of what exact service lines are generating that revenue. And we want to split this out. We want more detail here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. In terms of understanding how this all works in QuickBooks, we want to go to the invoices section for a second. And we can see here that when we go to create an invoice, that when we choose the product or service, there's only a few options here. There's hours and there's services. Now, what if we wanted to expand this a little bit? Where is this coming from exactly? Well, it's actually coming from the sales area, and then you have a section called products and services. And if we look here, we see that there's hours and services, which aligns to exactly what we saw here. So hours and services. Now, in the products and services area, that's where you want to define your various service lines, so then you can use them in an invoice and get separate reporting and so forth. But there is one other step that we need to take, because if we open up one of these service lines, let's call it, in the products and services area, you'll see it is tied to the services income account. Now, to have this separate service line that we're going to create, you also need to go to your chart of accounts, which I'll show you, and you'll need to create a separate account to then represent that new product and service that we're going to add, to then represent that product and service on the income statement. Okay, so there's a few steps we need to take, but I'm going to take you through it, so don't freak out. I'll make it simple. Now, to find the chart of accounts, we go to the accounting area, and you'll see the chart of accounts here, and this is, as the name applies, a list of the accounts that you have in QuickBooks. And you might have a few different accounts here, but we see that we have the services income account, and let's say we want to expand on that. So before we start playing with the product and services, we actually have to add a new account in the chart of accounts. And there are a few ways to do this really when you want to represent different service lines. This is one way that seems to work pretty well in a lot of situations. So you go up to new over here. I'll move myself for a second, and you could see that there is a new button at the top right. Okay, you go to new, and we're going to create a new income account. All right, so we're going to choose income. We're going to save this as an income account, and tax form section really doesn't matter in QuickBooks. We just service fee income for now. And the account name, let's go back to a marketing agency example, and let's call this branding income. All right, so that's set up. We've got income, we've got service fee income here, we've got branding, and that looks good. All right, so now we've set up the account itself, right? And if we look here and we sort, we should see a new income account. We have services income, then we have branding income. All right, now we also want to add some more accounts. We talked about web design being another service. So again, it's an income account. We're going to save this under income. All right. Tax form section, same deal. And here we're going to say this is web design income. Make sure that this is being represented because QuickBooks is being quirky with me today. Now we're going to create yet another one. This is going to be the final account that we create, also income. And this is going to be labeled as social media marketing income. Okay, so those are the 3 accounts that we're creating, and I'll show you why we're doing this in a second. All right, we're gonna save that account. Let's see that it's reflected in the chart of accounts. Okay, so now we have these few accounts here. Now, we talked about the fact that there are a few steps involved in getting this all to work. So now from the chart of accounts, we're gonna jump back to products and services. And you see here that not much has changed. Well, we're gonna refresh the page and we're gonna make some changes here so that we can then choose these products and services on the invoices. All right, so now if we go to new here, we want to create a new product and service. And in this case, there are a few different options. We're going to choose service. And we're going to label this branding income. All right, so now this is the product and service. We created the account in the chart of accounts. Now we're creating a product and service to connect to it when we make our invoices. All right, so now we go down to the income account section here, and you'll see that we have all those new accounts that we created on the chart of accounts now available. And we have branding income, so you see that all makes sense. And now we're going to check off, I sell the service to my customers, and we're gonna save that. Now we should have a new product and service. Again, what does it matter? Well, when we go to create a new invoice, you will see that we'll have a new option available, whereas we didn't have it before. Now, if we go to create invoice, and you'll see that when we go down to products and services now we have branding income available as a service line. All right. So we went to the chart of accounts. We created that account over here. Then we tied that to a product or service on the products and services area. That allows us to then use that account on the invoices that we use to bill clients. Now we choose that branding income, product and service, and now you see that it's actually taking into account the rate and it's calculating an amount. So everything looks good here. We're gonna choose a sample client as the client name, and we're going to save this invoice, all right? And what that's gonna do is now affect our financials. So when I hit run report here, I should see that there's a new income item, and there it is, all right? You can see that there's branding income of $5,000, services income of $10,000 now, all right? Whereas that wasn't the case before. Now, finally, let's finish creating the products and services that we talked about for those other two service lines. So we have branding income now. We want web design and social media marketing for our marketing agency, all right? So we're gonna create a new service. We're gonna call it web design income. And now in the income account, we choose web design income because we already created it on the chart of accounts. All right, we hit save. And then we're gonna create the last account real quick. And that's gonna be social media marketing income. All right, and now we have the income account that we've already created. And now we save and close. All right, we have all of our accounts shown here. And when we go back to our invoices now, we should be able to create an invoice that incorporates all of these. Now, we have, let's say, branding income. Now we have, let's say, social media, marketing income, and then there's web design income. We're gonna choose a sample client here. Everything looks good. And we're gonna hit save. All righty, let's go back to our reporting now. What does this look like? If we hit run report, now you could see that we have the income category, but within that category, we have the branding income, we have the services income that we talked about before, we have the social media marketing and web design. Now, if you had an entire year's worth of data, you could see the trends in terms of which income amounts are increasing, which are decreasing, whether there's seasonality, and you can make better decisions as a business owner if you have this information readily available, as opposed to all of the income being lumped into a single category. So you can use QuickBooks to get a better insight as to where your revenue is coming from, what the different revenue categories are, and where you need to focus your efforts to maximize your profits over time. That's what it's about, isn't it? So with that, if this video was helpful, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments down below. I love reading your comments. And if you ask an interesting question, then I might just answer it in a video like this one. If you have business bookkeeping questions, Efros Financial does provide monthly bookkeeping services. We manage your QuickBooks Online. We import all the transactions. We do all the reconciliations, so you don't have to worry about it and you can focus on building your empire. So if you want to find out more about that, the link will be in the description below, but you can head over to efrosfinancial.com/bookkeeping for more information on that. As always, hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching.